Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my redirect for High Score Girl Episode 1. So this is another one of the Summer 2018 anime season previews. Um, as for what I know about this series going in, almost nothing. I know it has something to do with video games, and specifically Street Fighter has something to do with it. I don't know exactly what, I don't know what the details are. That's all I know. Um, at least all I remember. I might have known more at some point when I first heard about it. That tends to happen with me. It's like I'll forget what something is until I actually see it. I don't know. This aired this past weekend, though, while I was at the convention in Toledo. And so I mentioned I was going to get to the late stuff first, and this is obviously one of those things. But just as a quick note regarding that. So I already recorded the My Hero thing before this. I'm going to get to this. And then I have to get to Cells at Work, which came out yesterday, Sunday. It is currently 6:11. I might not be able to get to Last Man today. If so, I'll probably post another video saying so, but I'm saying so here too. I might not be able to get to Last Man today. That might have to hold off until tomorrow. I've got it downloaded and all. I just might not have the time to record at this point. Because, again, I had to do My Hero, I have to do this, then I have to get to the second episode of Cells at Work, so yeah. But yeah, so, going back with this series, so, yeah, I don't know much of anything about it, other than video games and Street Fighter has something to do with it. I assume, based on the title, it's going to either center around a girl, or the girl's going to kind of be the deuteragonist. I probably completely mispronounced that. You know, the secondary main character. I see it going one of two ways right now. First, it's either going to be the main character is a girl gamer, like a real girl gamer, not like the sexualized photo op girl gamer. So someone like me or my sister or plenty of other girl gamers I know. But someone like that, I guess you could say. It's gonna be about her, and I guess maybe she gets she's like a really good one, gets high scores on all these different games, whether it's like arcade or maybe online leaderboards. Either that, or the second option would be that it centers around this kid, this boy, this male character, and he meets the girl, and it's kind of sort of like Max in Stranger Things Season 2, where it's like she gets the high score on, I think it was was it Dig Dug? I think it was Dig Dug, and she like surpassed one of the other kids' scores. I think it was Dustin. I think it was the other one, whose name I cannot think of at the moment. The one who ends up kind of forming a romance with Max. I can't think of his name. You know who I'm talking about, I'm sure. But either way, Max, like, in Stranger Things Season 2, it's like, that's kind of a thing. She's a gamer, and she surpasses the scores, and she's kind of like this, standardly, considered tomboyish type of girl. But yeah, I think it's kind of good. It could kind of be like that, where it's like the main character will be a boy, he discovers this girl, maybe she'll beat his score on something, and they'll maybe start like with this friendly rivalry and end up becoming friends or even romantic interests. I don't know. It's either that, or as I said with the first option, the girl is the main focus. One of those two. I really don't see any other way this could go, just based off initial impressions. It could be something completely different. It could be. I don't know. For all we know, it could be about some kind of esports prodigy. I don't know. But I'm interested to find out, because I am a gamer. I do love playing games, not just for the streams on here, even though that's most of where I play games these days. Just because I do so much other stuff now. But before I got into a lot of this anime and a lot of these cartoons I currently watch, I used to game a lot more often. I used to do it all the time. I grew up playing games. all the way from the NES, Super Nintendo, the original Game Boys and stuff, the PlayStation systems, Xboxes, Sega systems, all of it. I've played almost every console and handheld that's been released. And maybe not owned it myself, but I've played them at some point. And I still play games to this day. Again, not as often as I used to, but I still do. And even if I don't play certain games, I'll still watch other people play them because I still love the games themselves. So yeah. But I am interested to find out what this is about, and hopefully it'll become another series that I end up loving. But once again, since this is a summer 2018 preview reaction, there is no guarantee we will continue watching the series. We're going to watch the first episode here, and at the end, during my afterthoughts, I will reveal whether or not I think I want to continue reacting to it. If we do continue reacting to it, it can still be dropped at any time, just like with any show I react to. And we'll just have to go from there, pretty much. We have to see exactly what happens. But hopefully I end up loving it. Hopefully it is something I do think would be good to react to. Even though we've got a lot on our plates at the moment, I think we could do it if it's, again, one of those ongoing things like each week. I think we can handle that a lot easier. I will kind of be glad, though, once all of these preview things are done. Because at that point, I think we'll be able to kind of get a little more back on track, and everything will go a little more back to normal. In the meantime, though, thank you all so much for tuning in. So when we're just going to get this started. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirecting of the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so High Score Girl Episode 1. This was an interesting experience. So going into it, I didn't really have any, like, huge preconceived notions, so I didn't know exactly what it was going to be about. I had a couple guesses. One of them actually ended up being pretty correct. And my opinions changed a couple times through this. Because at first I was thinking, like, this show looks ugly. And I kind of still think it does. This show, the art style is really unattractive. Like, these kids, like, these are supposed to be, like, what, middle school kids, I think? I don't know, it's not entirely clear. But they're kids either way, and they look like what the stereotype of what pugs look like often is. You know, like, people say pugs looked like their faces were run over by a tractor or something. I've heard stuff like that all the time. To people who say pugs are ugly. I think pugs are adorable, by the way. Just putting that out there. But I've heard that stereotype all the time, that pugs look like their faces were run over or something. And I really hate to say it, but that's kind of what these kids look like. They're really flat and kind of elongated horizontally. And on top of it, the eyes just are really, like, creepy looking. They're really weird and unnatural. They look like they're either really tired or really high all the time. I don't know. It's just something about the facial structures and the way they're specifically drawn just is not in any slight way appealing. And so that was kind of my initial thought, and also that this main character, kind of sounds like he should be in, like, late high school. He sounds way too old for his age. And I mean, I get that can happen a lot in shows and stuff, especially since a lot of the time the voice actors you're going to hire are going to be adults. But he doesn't even seem like he's trying to sound like a child. So it's kind of just unnatural and really uncanny. Um, but then you get into the actual the actual content, and it's really funny, really interesting. We have some like real games being shown off, and it's just like, this is really cool. This is like nostalgic as hell for anyone who grew up playing these kinds of games. Maybe not these specific ones, but these kinds of games. This is cool. And I mean, I was born in 1992, mind you, but I still played these kinds of games growing up, even in the 90s into 2000s. I still played these kind of games. I grew up with like the early Mario games as well, all kinds of stuff. I don't know if any of those kind of games will make an appearance in this series. I kind of hope so. That would be awesome. But like, we got stuff here like Final Fight. Like, I mean, I haven't played the original Final Fight. I've played one of them. I don't know which one. But I know a lot of the characters. They've done crossover stuff with Street Fighter and whatnot. One of the biggest characters from Final Fight is Poison, who's huge. Like, seriously. Especially because of the entire translation error that kind of made Poison out to be trans. Which I think was actually kind of confirmed, kind of not. I think it was kind of like stated like, oh, you can view it either way. So it's kind of like some people view Poison as trans, some people don't. I kind of do, just because I think it's cool representation, and plus, honestly, it's kind of said you can view it either way. From what I've read and everything. So, either way, that's not the point. Point is, we got that. We got Street Fighter 2. We've got all these other big name games. Ghosts and Goblins was in there. Again, something I've never personally played myself, but I've seen other people actually play that one. It's just wild. And again, as someone who grew up playing these kinds of games and all, it's very nostalgic for me. And that's a good thing. It's a good kind of nostalgia, because it reminds me of all those great times I had playing these kinds of games and so many others growing up. And I can't wait to see what other games they introduce to this. And also, like, the episode was giving these like fun facts and stuff about gaming, about certain strategies and combo styles, and that's really cool. I feel like this was definitely made, I don't know if it came from a manga or whatnot, but either way, High Score Girl was definitely made by someone who knows gaming. By someone who definitely has that knowledge and passion for it. You can tell with the way it talks about it in this show, with the way just it describes these things, you can tell whoever made this, whoever created High Score Girl, has a passion for gaming. And that's awesome. I mean, that's amazing. That's fantastic. But then you get to the pacing of the episode. And like I said before, it kind of goes back and forth with me with this series. When you talk about the pacing, it felt a little slow at points. It felt like there was enough content in this episode for 2 episodes. Which you might think, oh, that means it's going a little fast. It's fitting like 2 episodes worth of content in one. But no. It felt like there was enough content for 2, but it felt like it was also dragging on, if that makes any sort of sense. Because like halfway through, like at the 12-minute mark or so, I checked the time on my recording timer, because I'm wondering, it's like, okay, how far into this are we? Because I thought we were a lot further. I thought we were maybe like 16 minutes in. But no. And it's like, wow, it's really only this... It's only 10 or 12 minutes in or so? It's like, really? And then it's like, I don't know, it just felt like it dragged a little bit. But again, it also, at the same time, felt like the content in this episode could have been split into 2 different ones. Which kind of means that I feel like this would have worked better as like a short. Like, in terms of anime, it would be considered a short. Like, 11-minute episodes. Sort of like how some American cartoons do with, like, Star Versus and Steven Universe. Have those, like, 11-minute episodes or something. Or at least do it in a way to, like, it's very clear that each half of the episode is its own separate thing. Sort of like it has 2 segments per episode. I don't know, it just, the way it was done in here, it kind of just felt weird with its pacing. The soundtrack was fine, like nothing really to report on that. The animation, outside of the art style, the animation was also just kind of good, kind of fine. Like there was no issue with it. So let's talk about the characters then. We have our main character. I don't remember names right now, so please don't expect me to. Our main character, though, the boy, he's kind of this elitist. He definitely has this this kind of pompous sense to him. He's a gamer. He's good at gaming, but he thinks of himself as better than he is. So when he's being defeated and everything, like at the beginning of this, when he's being defeated by I think her name was Ono or something, he's like freaking out, like, oh no, this girl can't be defeating me. This girl can't. I can't be defeated like this. And he's like, he gives himself this nickname. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was like the King or something like that. I don't know. I'm just gonna say the King just as an easy way to put it. He's like, oh, the King can't be beat like this. It's like, I'm the best. And it's like he's really conceited. And then it's almost like he's learning humility, though, through playing with her at the same time, which is interesting. The girl, Ono, is also really interesting. She's not a tsundere, or tsundere, or however you want to pronounce it. She's, you might think she is at first glance, but when you think about it, no. Because she doesn't seem to like him or anything. She doesn't seem to have any of that kind of thing going on. It's more like she's just so invested in games. And she got angry at him and attacked him, which is interesting. She seems to have some anger issues when he beat her. And I don't know if she did that because he beat her in general or because of the way he beat her. So I'm genuinely curious about that. Because if it's because of the cheating thing, well, not really cheating, but the way he won and everything, I guess that's a little more fair. But if it's just because he won, that's a little much. But then there was also those 2 other kids who were psychotic as hell. And it's like they were like beating the shit out of our main character. And she's just like, nope, you're annoying, kick you straight in the face against the coin machine. And it's like, holy crap. And then she's just like backhand punches the other girl, the psychotic girl. And the way she did it, it's like it was kind of to the side, but it kind of reminds you of like that thing where it's like this badass person's like fighting all these people, then you see someone coming up from behind and they're just like pow right to them without even looking. It kind of reminds you of that. And I kind of like also that this series addresses the sexism thing in a very realistic light, because as I mentioned while reacting, sexism for girls in with video games was a real thing, and even to a degree still is. Girls in the past, I'm gonna say in the past more often because it was a lot worse back then, when they did game, which wasn't super common as it is now, when girls did play video games, especially as actively as Ono is here, they were looked down on a lot more. They were seen as weird because girls back then, that wasn't the norm. Gaming was seen as a male-dominated thing. So they were kind of looked down on, and so I can't really be too upset that they're covering that, because this series, as we know, takes place around the time when Street Fighter 2 came out, shortly after or so. And around that time, that was the thing. And again, as I mentioned during the reaction, I'm so glad that changed. I'm glad that girl gamers are a lot more accepted nowadays. And not just for girl gamers like me who are trans, who a lot of people don't really consider this in the same kind of thing, you know? Because, you know, transphobia is a thing. But like with a lot of girl gamers and stuff, people like think, a lot of people, even nowadays, will like just insult them and say, oh, like, go make me a sandwich, or stuff like, and stupid sexist stuff like that in like in chats and whatnot on games. I've heard about stuff like that happening in Fortnite and Call of Duty and all of this stuff on online gaming and whatnot. League of Legends even. And it's terrible. It's horrible. But it happens. And it will honestly continue to happen if we don't make strides to change it. And we have been making strides. And I'm not talking the Anita Sarkeesian shit, because she is a dumbass. Anita Sarkeesian needs to take a chill pill and shut the hell up. Because she goes way too far. She goes way too fucking far. She's an extremist, let's put it that way. But we do need to be making strides and working to make gaming a more diverse pastime. Gaming has become a lot more mainstream than it used to be. It used to be just this fun little hobby that you sometimes played when you were bored, basically, just for fun every now and then. And now it's become a worldwide phenomenon. There are literal tournaments and leagues set for this stuff. Their esports is huge. I've watched the League of Legends World Championships. Those can get huge. Imagine Dragons perform the theme song in 2014 for the League's World Championships. That's amazing. They're a big name band, and the thing is, I mean, Imagine Dragons are all gamers themselves. They're big into that kind of stuff. But still, to have that kind of huge name band performing a theme song for a video gaming world championship, that's a big deal. If you've seen the crowds at those world championships, they're huge. Gaming is becoming a bigger thing. And we see in this that our main character, going back to the actual show we're talking about, he starts off kind of sexist, but then he starts to get it. He starts to see her strategy, starts to see the way she plays. And when they're playing Final Fight together, he sees that she's doing this alchemy trick, and he actually starts to respect her. To respect her ways and how she does things. And when he finds out that she also helped them stay out of the rain for all that time, he gets her some lollipops. And he even agrees to give her both without any arguments or any kind of complaints. He basically says, yeah, that's fair. You helped me yesterday and you helped me today. That's completely fair. And he gives them to her. And I think this is one of those shows where we're going to have a main character who grows a lot throughout the show. And it's probably going to go the route where these two end up together. It probably is. But I don't mind that. Usually I would think that's really cliche and I would kind of mind. But I think this is setting it up in a way to where it's going to really give some cool dynamics. Really give some cool moments between these two. Show how he can grow into just so much better of a character. And even show how he still has trouble understanding and dealing with it sometimes. I'm not expecting him to just be completely cool from now on. I'm expecting him to still have trouble and still get angry at times. But I think this is going to be a cool one. So that brings us to the question to end this off with. Will I continue reacting to this? Because this is, as you know, a Summer 2018 preview reaction. I am going to continue reacting to this. I wasn't sure at first, and even through watching this, I was not sure at all times. Again, animation is, or art style is ugly as hell. The voice actors for the kids just seem way too unrealistically old. And there's some pacing issues. But I think that the good outweighs the bad here. The amazing nostalgia, the pure passion that was put into this in knowing about all of this gaming stuff, and just the potential this series has for its characters and story to really progress into a really amazing way, as well as cover a lot of topics about gaming and how it was perceived by many, and how girl gamers were perceived by many. I think this could be a really important show. For anyone who loves gaming, for anyone who, again, grew up in that time where we played those games that are now so nostalgic to us, this is going to be an important one. This is an anime I think we need in this day and age. Because, again, there are still those out there who are still sexist, who still think that girl gamers are inherently worse, or that they have to be sexy and show off their cleavage or whatnot when they stream and all. But no, a girl gamer can just be sitting there on her couch in baggy ass clothes, chowing down on Cheetos and screaming at the screen out of frustration just as much as anyone else. Girl gamers are just as much gamers as the rest of us. And yes, there can be plenty of girl gamers who do show cleavage, and who are really attractive. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there can also be guy gamers who live stream and stuff with their shirts off, who are really attractive. I've seen that. It can go both ways, and it can even go either way for NB gamers. And every other kind of idea you could think of. Gamers are so diverse, and I like how this series seems to be kind of giving us the feel that this girl, she's a gamer. This girl is a true gamer. She loves these games. She's good at these games. And she has this goal in mind for when she plays. She is just as much a gamer as any guy. And I think that this kid, this boy, is learning that. And I think that's awesome. So, yeah. I would even love to see at some point in the future, in a future episode, maybe someone's picking on Ono because she's a girl who's doing this game stuff, and he defends her. I think that would be amazing. It would show great character growth and development, and be just wonderful for the series and for the messages it could tell. But yeah, I could talk about this forever. But I do want to hear your thoughts, and I do have some other stuff to get to as well. So tell me in the comments below what you thought of the first episode of High Score Girl. Tell me your thoughts on the characters, on the art and animation, on the voice acting, the story, and the video game nostalgia. Tell me your thoughts on all of that and more in the comments below. And thank you so much for tuning in today. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. So, see you all next time.
And don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles, shed tears.